Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Intro to Fundraising. We're excited to have you with us. This workshop is a part of our Integral Intro series where we explore the essentials of nonprofit management. These sessions are all about helping you get familiar with key trends, practical approaches, and best practices in the nonprofit sector. My name is Sandeep, and I will be your host for today's session. That means I'll be keeping an eye on the chat and here in the background throughout just to support your participation. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you run into any issues or have any questions. Uh, Give me a message and we will work through any tech issues, any accessibility needs, any of that, as well as any of your content related questions can also go into the chat at any time throughout. We'll be sure to work that into our conversation today or circle back to it at the Q&A period at the end. Just a note about accessibility before we get going today. To support your accessibility needs, you can turn on the closed captioning feature on the bottom of the Zoom window. The live transcription option will help you follow along today's session. And this feature will also be available on the recording of this session, which you will receive later on this week. I'm going to drop a link for a little bit more information about that in the chat for you now. This link will address any common questions about the closed captioning and live transcription features for you. Okay, we will begin today's session with a land acknowledgement. Today, we are gathering online for many places, so we would like to ground our beginning by acknowledging that Integral Org is based out of Mohkinstsis, which is the Blackfoot name for elbow. Mohkinstsis refers to the confluence of the Elbow and Bow rivers that run through Treaty 7 territory and is situated in the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Siksika, Piikani, Kainai nations, as well as the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, consisting of the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney nations, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and finally the Métis Nation of Alberta District 5 and 6. At Integral Org, our team recognizes the existing tension between the legal and governance structures that we work within and efforts towards truth and reconciliation. We accept our responsibility to work towards reconciling this tension, and we also remember that we all have a connection and responsibility to the lands that host our lives, our communities, and our work. With that, I would like to introduce our presenter today, Derek Bechtold. In his career spanning 26 years, Derek has had the honor of contributing to a myriad of nonprofits and charities from a multitude of sectors, including the Marine Museum of the Great Lakes at Kingston, Woods Homes, Can Learn Society, In From the Cold, the Calgary Police Foundation, the Association for the Rehabilitation of the Brain Injured, and the Brenda Stratford Foundation. These agencies have ranged in budgets from 500,000 to 100 million and fundraising departments from 7 full-time employees to 1-person shops. Over his career, Derek has dabbled in every manner of fund development, from annual giving, major gifts, special events, through to planned giving, and is well versed in high-level strategic development down to the tactical and finer points of fundraising. So glad that you could be here with us today, Derek. I will tag it over to you to get us started with today's session.
Oh, outstanding. Thanks so much, Sandeep. And everyone, absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you so very much for making the time and joining us today. We will be delving into the wonderful world of fundraising. Um, Fundraising is not bake sales, nor is it garage sales. Fundraising is not about going out and begging for spare change. So while it is awesome if you can say, please spare some change, no, it is not about that. Rather, fundraising is a very, very noble pursuit that actually helps actualize your mission. Fundraising is, in my view, the gentle art of teaching the joy of giving. So what we're going to be looking at today is first we'll be doing a quick sort of survey of the current fundraising environment, see what's going on out there, and then dabbling into some of the trends for 2025. And then we will be looking at some of the tools and strategies that you might be able to adopt for your shop. So Let's begin, shall we? So, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions regarding our industry. And I think this is the place where we can sort of burst some of these and then start to get a better understanding of the nonprofit sector and the fundraising that sort of takes place within it. So, myth number one: we are all truly unique organizations and different, right? And that's why people will support us, right? Not necessarily. As you can see here, there are a gaggle of charities in Canada, and there are countless of charities that do very similar work to what your organization does. So, according to CRA, we have more than 85,000 registered charities in Canada. Now, if you were to also include nonprofits, this number will balloon to about 170,000. If we break it down to sort of more Alberta centric, we have about 9,300 registered charities in Alberta. We're actually gaining 6 new charities in Alberta a month. We have 2,400 in Calgary, 1,900 in Edmonton, and the rest close to very close to 5,000 charities throughout rural Alberta. So bear this in mind if you think there might be some competition for the fundraising dollar. If we can go on to the next slide. Perfect. Myth number 2. We're a grassroots mom and pop shop, right? So people will naturally give to us. Again, this is not really the case. This is quite a startling, startling image, actually. We are becoming a have versus a have not sector, and there is a finite pool of resources in which we can partake in. In a nutshell, 86% of the charities in Canada garner about 23% of fundraising revenue. Now, this is receipted gifts. Okay. Conversely, 13% of the charities that exist bring in about 76% of fundraising revenue. So that this you're looking at your hospitals, right? Post-secondaries, very, very large foundations, this type of thing. To continue along in the same vein, according to our source, Canada Helps. Love Canada Helps. Check them out for any sort of resources information as well. 78% of charities in Canada make less than $500,000 in revenue a year. 90% of them employ 10 or fewer full-time staff, and 59% are fully run by volunteers alone. So again, this is turning into a have versus have not sector. Myth number 3. We're a very, very generous province here in Alberta, right? And the streets are certainly paved with gold. Yes and no. While Albertans absolutely are incredibly generous, we're starting to see some cracks show in that generosity. So if we look at this, and this is just new data that came out via the Government of Canada, CRA, on the surface, the number of donors have gone up, and the number of charitable donations have gone up as well. All must be right in the universe, right? Not necessarily. If we dig a little deeper, we can see that the number of donors compared to the number of tax filers from 2019 to 2023 actually decreased from 19% to 17%. So the donor pool is actually decreasing. Also, take a gander at the average age of donor. Something to think about, right? When you hear people stating, oh, we must find ways of engaging our new, younger donors out there. Again, something to think about. Also, please note the average donation for individuals 65 and older, about $6,000. And this is an increase of 41%, 41% over 2019. Compare that to the generation of 35 to 44. They donated 2,100 in 2023, and this is only an increase of 6% since 2019. And furthermore, the median donation, so median is really just 50% is higher and 50% is lower. The median donation went up $10 over the past 5 years. If we look at myth number 4, once they give, they'll continue to give, right? We've just shown that they love us. We're mom and pop. They will certainly give to us once they have given before. Not at all. Donor retention, quite simply, is the measure of how many donors will continue to donate to your organization year over year. So if we strictly look at this graph, and this is 2021, 41.9% for donor retention. This means that if you have 100 donors that give to you this year, only 41% of them on average will return next year. We have some more up-to-date donor information from Canada Helps, and they say the average donor retention rate in Canada is at a whopping 43%. Not that good. That is certainly something that we need and must to pick up on. You see, nonprofits that have a higher donor retention rate have long-term supporters who will come back year after year and support you, whereas nonprofits with a far lower donor retention rate need to continually acquire new donors or gain larger gifts just to keep up pace. And as we'll see a little further on, donor acquisition is a very, very, very costly activity. So I think we're going to do a bit of a poll here. So what I would like to see, please, is if you can oh, there we go. There's our poll. Haha. Yes. So I would just like to sort of know what are some of the top fundraising streams that are in your shops. It can be sort of the individual giving, perhaps it's events, grants, or you know what, Derek, it's all about foundations for us. So interested in what we have. Wow, lots of individual giving and grants. Fantastic. Yep. Event fundraising. Absolutely. Galas, marathons, golf tournaments. Oh gosh, yeah. So, all right, I think we can probably end that poll. Do you think, Sandeep?
Yep, we have the final results up here.
Fantastic. So let's see how that kind of plays out. So remember some of these numbers, everyone. And now we'll go on to our next myth, if we can. And that is, let's have a special event or let's have a gala or a golf tournament, right? And let's ask Apple. Let's ask Apple for sponsorship, right? I can't tell you how many times I've heard this from boards. No, you may not want to. What this slide shows is the top revenue streams from charities across Canada, stating what they utilize, what is the medium that they use. So we can see easily that grants, major donors, and individuals. Major donors are anybody that will give a significant amount of money to your organization relative to that organization. So for, say, the University of Calgary, a major gift could be $5 million. For, say, Save the Weasel Foundation of South Calgary, it might be $500, right? We see grants, major donors, and individuals are by far the top revenue streams. And you'll note also that fundraising events and corporate giving is way, way down the list. This will play out a little later on. So, myth number 6. All of us, we do good work, right? I love my cause, and therefore others will as well. Not necessarily. This is a fantastic image from Canada Helps in their giving report, the donation rate by cause area. If you are health, social services, or within the animal welfare sector, you are doing not too bad, right? Those are where people give often, and give the most. What does that speak to then of, say, amateur sports agencies or arts and culture, or even myself, where I currently work today, is Crime Stoppers, right? Where would you fit Crime Stoppers? I would probably say other, right? 3%. So again, these are all kind of things that we should be sort of thinking about, these myths, and how this is kind of laying the groundwork as we proceed here. So the fundraising landscape right now is really quite challenging. We have economic uncertainty. Certainly, there's massive social change that's going on. We don't even need to mention political upheaval. I am sure Merriam-Webster will say that the 2025 word of the year will be tariffs. Oh, good gravy, right? And of course, we still have the lasting and lingering effects of COVID. So right now, it is a difficult environment in which to raise critical funds for your organization. So given that I am a Debbie Downer and certainly a negative Nancy, I say we pack it all in, right? That just really kind of makes sense for all of us. No, please, don't do that at all. I believe that there are numerous tools and strategies that we can adopt that will help mitigate some of these challenges, but especially for the smaller fundraising shop or for the smaller nonprofit. Sorry. Your fundraising that I've seen working at very, very small agencies can certainly be more flexible and adaptable. And it can also have fundraising and stewardship methods that are far more customizable, intimate, and authentic. So if we move on to our next slide, Sandeep. So let's now start to look at 2025 and beyond for some of the fundraising trends that we're looking at. AI. AI and machine learning are increasing at an exponential rate, certainly in popularity and in usage, right? The most popular one being ChatGPT. Recurring donors and giving flexibility. This looks specifically towards, say, monthly giving programs. That is lovely Betty, who signs on to your agency and donates $15 a month to your cause, right? We want to start to look into recurring donations for three reasons. A, we are in the midst of a cost of living crisis. And for Betty, it might certainly be easier to donate $10 a month versus $100 as one lump sum for a year, right? Number two, subscription style spending is the norm for many consumers. What do I mean? Who here has a membership to Netflix, Apple, or Prime, right? It comes out of your account. You don't think anything else of it. It is gone, right? So subscription style is now starting to eke its way into fundraising mediums as well. And number three, recurring giving also helps organizations foster better donor engagement overall. So the third one here is peer-to-peer fundraising as an acquisition tool. What this is at its core, it is individuals or supporters that now have a chance to fundraise on your behalf. It is absolutely brilliant. Some examples would be the Ride to Conquer Cancer, right? Marathons, these types of things, where an individual or a team can set up a fundraising page and literally be your ambassadors and your fundraisers so that they can solicit on your behalf to their networks. And finally, as always, the charitable sector, you can expect to face increased scrutiny as our donors, becoming more savvy, continue to demand transparency and accountability from the organizations they support, and they should, right? Absolutely. So if we go on to our next slide, so once we sort of looked at, we burst some of the myths that are out there, and we looked at some of the fundraising trends that are going on, we're now starting to pick and choose what some of the fundraising mediums we might sort of adopt. Please remember when you guys were sort of listing out what were some of the mediums that you use: individual giving, corporate giving, event giving, and I saw a lot of for event giving. Remember, I think the stats were that grants and major donors, individuals, are sort of number one, right? And there is a reason. If we look at this chart, this is really, really quite telling. Major gifts, and I explained what those are, usually costs you 7 cents to raise $1. Whereas on the opposite spectrum, right, you have your special event, and this is gross proceeds, right? It will cost you 25 cents to raise $1, right? So again, if you are chief cook and bottle washer, start to think of where you allocate your time and resources. And the next slide, if we just sort of round out the whole ROI notion, the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of causes. This actually also pertained to fundraising as well, many, many years ago. What we're starting to see, though, is a massive shift to more to the 95-5 principle, i.e., you will have 95% of your donors, that would be the mid-level and the low-level donors, only contributing 5% of your overall revenue. Whereas 5% of your largest donors will contribute 95% of your resources. So again, this really speaks to where are you spending your time and how are you allocating your resources. So let's go on. So now let us look at the who's, the where's, and the how's of fundraising. Okay, Derek, you sort of showed us all this doom and gloom, and you gave us these trends. That's fantastic. So how is it now that we are going to be fundraising? Well, first and foremost, I say go after individuals. Well, how can you sort of leverage them? Who are these individuals? Here's sort of a laundry list of people that you can literally start to approach or leverage. Any board that I have sat on personally, I have given to. Any organization that I have worked at, I have given to. Why? If my job is to ask for money, how can I do that unless I have given to that agency and know the feeling, know the emotion that is behind that? For some of your board members or volunteers or staff members, or not staff members, sorry, but your volunteers and board members, where is it that they work? Do they have charitable giving programs there that you can tap into? And same with your volunteers, right? For your stakeholders, clients, that may not be applicable for, say, In From the Cold, which was a homeless family shelter that I worked at. What about arts and culture, though, right? Philharmonic Orchestra, might some of them be able to contribute to your agency? Absolutely. Vendors, go to your vendors, right? If you are buying from them, certainly they might be able to donate to you. And this is one that I also like, is the connections through long-standing donors. Ask them. Ask people that are closely connected to you. Who else do you think might be engaged with us? I really need your support. Who else do you think we can chat with? If you ask for people's advice, they will give you money. If you ask for money, they'll give you advice. So who are some other who are some others that we can sort of seek funding from? So of course you have, for grants, you have your foundations, your corporations, service clubs, and government. But in terms of a quick and dirty, where can I go for some of this information? Please check out Charity Village. You can just Google them and type into their search bar corporate funding or even foundations, right? If you are like me and happen to peruse CRA, Charities Director, in the late of night with a glass of Merlot in your Batman PJs, go on there and look up foundations, and you will see that there are 398 public foundations and 872 private foundations in Alberta alone. They won't all give to you, no, but perhaps there might be one or two that might. For your corporations, oh gosh, look up lists through your Chamber of Commerce, business directories, that type of thing. The one thing I love to do, don't tell anybody, is I will go to a like agency. So say I was at In From the Cold. What are some other homeless agencies in Calgary? Go to their supporters list and see who supports them. Chances are, if they are truly passionate about the homeless sector, you already have that initial in with them. The one thing I also want to emphasize here is sort of some corporate matching. So remember, we talked about board members, and you can certainly ask them for dollars. You can also leverage them. Find out where your board members work. There are often corporate matching programs or dollars for doers. programs that they have. I think Sandeep will put two such examples in the chat. Please visit Oakville and Milton Humane Society, and also Easter Seals of Ontario. They have fantastic lists that will sort of go through these are the corporations that have corporate giving programs. If, say, I work at Sun Life and I make a donation of $50 to the Save the Weasel Foundation of South Calgary, that $50 will suddenly now turn into $100. They match one for one. Furthermore, if you look at somebody like CIBC or TD Bank, right, they have something called Dollars for Doers, i.e., if you volunteer, you are a TD employee and you volunteer at a charity, for say 50 hours or 40 hours in a year, we will donate $500 to your favorite charity. That's simple money. That's easy cash that is sitting right there. And all your volunteers have to do, because they love your agency, is just click a few buttons. So certainly check out those mediums. Last, just quickly on here, service clubs. I am a huge advocate of service clubs. I believe that they are an untapped market for us. I used to belong with Kinsman and also with Rotary clubs, and our motto was to eat, drink, and give away money. Not necessarily in that order. Don't hold me to that. So yes, certainly visit the service clubs that are local to your area. Start with those closest to you. Fundraising radiates outwards. This is the immortal words of the great Hank Rosso. He was the godfather of fundraising. He emphasized relationship building over transactional asks, and he urged all fundraisers to nurture connections at each level before jumping to the next. What this does is this will help to create a culture of philanthropy at your organization. That being, everyone plays a role at your agency in fundraising, whether it is asking directly for donations, whether it is opening doors. Wow, you know what? My wife, Betty, she's part of the Canettes, and I think I might be able to sort of, get in good there. Fantastic. It could also be sort of seeking advice. I had one board member once. He was the chairman of an oil and gas company, and he said to me one day, apologies for the language, Derek, I am absolute shit at asking for money, which I found was shocking, given that he was the chairman of oil and gas. But what his talent was in thanking. He wrote the most amazing thank you cards to our donors. Why? Because his wife had utilized our services, and he was very, very passionate. So again, really try to leverage either board members or staff members that you have within your agency. Okay, so we looked at sort of the who's. Derek, when is it that I should really be sort of asking? This is the Eisenhower matrix, or the urgent and important graph. Please try to utilize this, okay? Don't take on all initiatives or asks at once. It will be overwhelming. Please set yourself very, very realistic, bite-sized goals. And remember to try and balance this, your time, with the ROI, right, that we sort of saw from earlier on. So what I like to do is when I sort of set up shop in a place, is I set up a grants calendar. This is a yearly calendar where you can sort of plug in when grants are due. Quite often, grants will sort of state this outright on their websites. So, for instance, in Calgary, Nickel Family Foundation, their intake is in March of every year. The Calgary Foundation Community Grants is typically in February and September, and Community Initiatives Program operating grants through the Alberta government are usually in January and July. So what I do then is I start to build in other anchors that are in and around some of those grants. So that can be either, yes, you will still do sort of a gala or a golf tournament, or maybe it's a mail out campaign. But what this allows you to do is take a very large strategic, intentional view of your fundraising over a year, i.e., it may not be a good thing to try and do 5 grants within the same month that you're holding a golf tournament, just as an FYI, right? The other thing that I like to do, actually, looking at sort of your yearly calendar and prioritizing, is I love to try and leverage national observances. So if you are an agency that deals with domestic or family violence or abuse, Family Violence Prevention Month is November. Might that be a good time to seek donations or support? Seniors Week always takes place in June. Earth Day is in April, right? And Family Literacy Day is in January. How, if you work for causes that relate to those days, how might you be able to leverage that, right? There's a lot of noise and press releases and media that goes out on that day. And you might be able to literally leverage that and amplify your message in the same turn. Also, I would like to just sort of quickly talk about some ongoing or fun or passive fundraising. So we sort of spoke to more of the kind of the intentional, fundraising. This is, I think, everybody, please should try to look into these and see how you might be able to utilize them. Canada Helps is a third-party payment processor. I'm sure many of you use them. I love them myself. But there are many add-ons and interesting pieces of information, stories and stats that you can add into their website that only tells your story just a little bit better, right? Maybe you are a food bank in rural Alberta. Certainly, you can create a Amazon wish list, for your charity. The one I really want to center on, because I absolutely love them, is Rafflebox. Rafflebox, they are national in Canada. And they will work with anybody that has a gaming license. So if you're here in Alberta, right, say you hold a casino, which is very popular, you will have a gaming license. And what they do is they hold raffles every 2 weeks, monthly, quarterly, whatever you want. Chase the Ace, these types of gambling things online. Please visit them and then sort of take a look at some of their case studies. So for Curling Alberta, within 6 months, they were able to raise $457,000. For the Airdrie Phoenix Swim Club, they were able to raise 100 grand in 90 days. And the Kinsman Club of Medicine Hat, 300 grand in 60 days. These ain't large organizations, right? These are not hospitals or foundations. These are mom and pop shops, right? But they give you some great tools and resources at Rafflebox. So certainly check them out. Okay, so we have the who's and we have the whens. Let's now sort of look at the hows. This is a fantastic sort of checklist, and fundraisers always sort of use it. It's the five R's. Um, First and foremost, though, this checklist can be used. It can be used with individuals, it can be used with major gifts. If you're doing a grant application, it can be used when you're seeking out third-party events or engaging corporations as well. This enables you to be more intentional and strategic in your fundraising. And it also really lets you plan thoroughly what it is that you're trying to do. You need to check your work, double check, and then please check it again. Coming from somebody who screwed up far more than I would like to admit, these are very, very important elements. How much are you going to be asking for, right? But also dig into the background. How much have they given to you in the past, right? What have they given to, and when have they given? These are all important. If you're going into a meeting with, say, ABC Foundation, and they've given to you 3 times in the past, it might be appropriate to start off that conversation with, I just want to thank you on behalf of the board of directors for your incredible support over the years. You've truly had an immense impact on our agency, right? It might be appropriate to start off with that thank you. So if we look at the next slide, Sandeep, thank you. Okay, so this is on the day itself. Now, whether you are going to meet with a corporation or whether you are going to meet with a foundation or even really just sitting down for having a coffee or tea with an individual, something that we often use in fundraising is called listen the ask. Um, we are born with two ears and one mouth. Try and stick with that ratio, right? The idea being is find out what is important to them, find out what they're excited about, find out what is meaningful and impactful, what resonates truly with them. What you bring to that meeting are your facts, figures, numbers, your impacts, outcomes, your triumphs, your tragedies, and you try to align that exactly with the donor. And this is where you will have help to actualize their philanthropic dreams. So, if we can move on to sort of the aftermath, regardless of what takes place. So you might, say you were going to chat with Betty and you're seeking $500 from her. You might get a yes, no, or a maybe, right? Regardless of what takes place. Please remember to thank them. Uh, I, this is actually quite important. If you receive a yes for your ask, quite often we get so very excited that we miss those two critical, vital words of thank you. Oh gosh, this is remarkable. This is going to do so very much for our agency. This is going to help out X number of kids over X amount of time. This is great. Not once is there a thank you, right? It is something that we as humans thrive on, and it is important to do. Think about yourself. If ever you've made a donation yourself, $50, 500, 50,000, think about when you uh, sent in a gift somewhere. It is important to be thanked, right? So, regardless of the outcome, certainly thank them for their time, for the gift, for this opportunity. Please also remember to manage expectations. You yourself will receive no's. I can't even begin to tell you how many no's I've received. Be kind with yourself, okay? Be forgiving. If it is a grantor or if it is a foundation. So just recently, we were turned down by the Lethbridge Community Foundation, and I immediately, wow, thank you so very much for this. I appreciate you getting back to me. Please, could we set up a meeting and just go over what I might be able to do or change that could make this a great grant? Right? Seek their advice. Always seek their advice, and quite often they're willing to give it to you. Uh, and more importantly, though, everything, whether it is a yes, no, or a maybe, is always a learning moment and how you can enhance this, right? So truly try to embrace that moment. So you just received $500 for Betty, and Betty is super excited and she's thrilled, and so are you. I think the most important element to any fundraising is the stewardship. And that is the thanking. Uh, I believe that you can't properly ask for money unless you can properly thank. So, according to AFP, their fundraising effectiveness report, the number one reason why people stop giving, they haven't been thanked, right? Look at the other reasons there. Financial is way, way down the list in terms of why they don't give anymore. Now, remember back to that donor retention and why it is so low? It is because quite often, a lot of our agencies just do not properly thank our donors on time. The best practices for fundraising, for thanking, should be within 48 hours. If you're chief cook and bottle washer, that may not always be practical, but nevertheless, strive to pick up the phone, send a quick email, send and I love doing this, a thank you card, right? These are just some of the ways that you can sort of thank people. Now, I think we have also, again, another in the chat box, please, list how you guys in your orgs sort of thank your donors. What are some of the neat, nifty things that you might do? Um, so yes, if people just wanted to sort of thank, I mean, is it just sort of a standard template letter? Dear Sir, Madam. Oh, please, Lord, tell me that it isn't that. Do you? Oh, I like that first one. Social media posts. That is a fantastic one, and you raise such uh, an interesting quote. Texting. Ooh, excellent. Social media posts. If I can go back to that for 2 seconds, the wonderful thing about social media is that if it is from a corporation or say a foundation, and they too are active on social media, you can tag them. And then it isn't necessarily the return on investment you're looking at, but rather it can also be a a cost of ignoring or COI, right? So if you reach out and you tag someone or you thank this corporation or this foundation, and it is a truly wonderful, authentic thanks, uh, boy, that how does that look for the individual on the receiving end that doesn't sort of respond? They're tagged. It's not like they can, just well, they can ignore it, but that's the cost of it, right? So certainly, I love the social media posts, texting as well. That is really neat, especially if you have that really, really close and intimate relationship with your donor. No question. Yeah. So I do like some of those handwritten note. Oh, those to me, those are my favorites. So if we can look at the next slide here, these are but some of the things that you can do. Certainly, again, I tend to be somewhat old school. I can do a thank you phone call. I've also been known to, sit at the kitchen table with a lovely beer and writing out thank you cards to individual donors. I've been known to do that. Uh, Tours. I cannot stress enough just how powerful and intimate tours can be. At In From the Cold, which was a homeless family shelter, they could see, hear, touch, and if it was Community Kitchens Thursday, taste, right? The actual impact that they are having, right? So tours, please never ever forget uh, what those can do for your organization. Now, if we can start to we looked at the thanking and whatnot and how to ask. Sandeep, if we can look at our next one. I'd like to go over a few other elements that I think are critical for your agency, and that is tools for your shop. So a case for support. Uh, Please, please, please have a case for support. It really is it can be a large, robust item. So take a look at any sort of hospital or university. Kids Up Front in Calgary has a great donor case for support. And on a smaller scale, Alberta Schools Council Association also has a neat case for support. Really, all it is that it states the reason why your organization needs and merits support from the community, right? It touches all of these points that are here, but it also galvanizes all of your stakeholders. So this is something that you could not only give to your donors or prospects, it is something that you give to board members, right? As key messages. It's something you can give to volunteers. It's something you should give to staff. Staff should actually be part of this, right? So it is that sort of that holistic document that everybody can get on board with. The next one, Chat GPT. So I'm sure people have heard of this before. Ultimately, what it is OpenAI that was launched in November of 2022. And as you can see by the definition up top, it is a chatbot that produces human-like responses to questions. Uh, Massive benefits to this. Everything from it can generate fundraising letters to scripts for fundraising calls. It can write speeches for you. It can write donor thank you letters. It can create grant proposals. The best thing I think it is for, if you've ever done a grant or anything, please describe your entire organization in 500 words or less. Good gravy, right? What you can do is take all of your immense information on your organization, throw it into ChatGPT, and say, please spit this out in 500 words. Boom. Now, there are some cautions that I stress with ChatGPT. It is not a silver bullet by any means, right? This pulls information from the internet. So please fact check and double check that. The other thing I would also stress is unless it is on the website, uh, do not add in personal information or financial details, right? If you have your finances on your audit financials on your website, that's fine. It's already public domain, not a problem at all. And the last one, this one is interesting, is authenticity. Um, Merriam-Webster's word of the year for 2023 was authenticity. How authentic will that letter, note, text, grant be from ChatGPT versus what you are able to create? Something to think about. Nevertheless, if we can go on to the next slide here. So what I decided to do is Silver Linings is a great little foundation, love in Calgary. They bridge the gaps in accessibility and care of eating disorders in Alberta. I was able to go onto ChatGPT and I put in on the left-hand side all of these sort of tags or all of these prompts exactly like this. And I said, hi, can you please spit something out in 400 words? I literally copy and paste and put that in to chat. This is what it came out with in seconds. Seconds. Now, again, ChatGPT should be first draft only. You need to go in there and make it far more relatable, far more emotional, that sort of thing. But what a great way to start off, right? It was literally more difficult for me to take this example of ChatGPT and to actually fit it on this slide than it was to actually generate this letter. Okay. It is absolutely brilliant. As a side note, I use ChatGPT probably about 20 times a day. Um, I have a nice relationship with it. I asked ChatGPT what it would like to be called, and he said, "Oh, CJ sounds good." So I now call him CJ, and I say, "Good morning, CJ. How are you this morning?" And we have a lovely conversation. He can also give you advice. Wow, you know what? I really don't know how to phrase this. What do you think? Or, gosh, you know what? I really want to try and leverage Family Violence Awareness Month. What do you think might be some tools or resources I could do that? Boom. CJ, no, please don't use CJ. That's my guy's name. ChatGPT will punt out information for you. But again, right, it is only the beginning of the conversation. And finally, the other tool for your shop is CRMs or customer relations management tool. Please, please, please tell me that you have a database of some sort. This will help track your donations, your donors, obviously issue tax receipts, but it also captures rich donor history, trends, motivations, and preferences of your donors, right? Again, this will truly help you when you're looking at the ROI of whatever medium it is that you are using for fundraising. There are some fantastic affordable ones that are out there. Canada Helps is an awesome one. Salesforce, they're pretty big and burly. They are the sixth largest software company in the world, but again, extremely robust. As well, there are some affordable CRMs through TechSoup. Please check out TechSoup if you are not engaged with them. They are a fantastic organization that provides very, very cheap, reduced, discounted software for charities. Okay, so just a final few sort of little points here, if I can. Please, Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, please be patient and forgiving. All of this takes time, energy, effort, and passion. Okay. The next one, please, is when you do pick some sort of activity, say it is, yes, Derek, we are going to do a golf tournament. Outstanding. Bravo. Please measure it, right? Please look at your KPIs. Please establish benchmarks. Please establish year over year analysis. Are you doing this right? Is it failing? What is the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again and yet expecting a different result. So whatever it is, please measure what you're doing. And certainly you are going to be like me and you will fail, and you will fail often. But please, when you do fail, fail forward. Okay. Take some learnings from this. This is an absolute opportunity to improve upon what it is you are doing. And finally, when you do succeed, and you will succeed, please do remember to celebrate. At old agencies, I would have a little dog toy that was a donut, and it makes little annoying squishy sounds or squeaky noises. And I would just sort of run around the agency every time we got like $1,000 gift. People ended up sort of hating me, but how awesome that you were able to celebrate this $1,000 that came in, right? So please take time to celebrate what you were able to do, because again, you guys are worth it, and this is a noble act that you were. That is my song and dance. I'm not too sure if there were any sort of questions that you had in the chat. Sandeep, have you seen any that have gone in there?
There's not been any questions throughout, but we'll give folks a moment now if you'd
Yeah,
like to take some time to jot down your questions for Derek. Don't be
I did
shy. Now
see.
is the time.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry,
Sorry,
Sandeep.
Derek.
No. I did see that there were some pre survey questions that people put in, and I think this is just how arrogant I am. I think I addressed some of those questions in this presentation. If I have not, though, please, any suggestions for fundraising for a new building? Christmas cracker. Okay, that is an interesting question. Obviously, that is a whole next level to fundraising. That would be your capital campaign. There are a lot of sophisticated nuances to that. If you are a smaller shop, there is no question. I think you'll have to bring on fundraising expertise, so consultants, that type of thing. Um, uh, I, without going into all of it, go into Chat GPT and say, my gosh, CJ, that's mine. Don't use that. What would you recommend I start off with for a capital campaign for fundraising for a new building at my small charity? And it will punt stuff off and then just literally keep narrowing it down. But yeah, there are a lot of nuances to that. I will just say, Sandeep, before we move on, is that for that, through the Government of Alberta Community Initiatives Program, they also have CFEP, Community Facility Enhancement Program. I highly recommend checking them out if you're doing any sort of capital improvement or capital build. Uh, how do you handle failures if you are a perfectionist? Good gravy. And what do you think? The donation isn't enough, especially coming from someone that thinks bigger is better. Wow. Oh my gosh, what a great question. Yeah, I am a bit of a perfectionist, but I think after getting so very many no's, I sort of left that to the wayside. um, and I there's always that notion of, geez, this donor could have given more, and gosh, did we leave money on the table? Yep, you certainly might have, right? And $1,000 may not be exactly what you need, and it may certainly not be the most he can give. Think about next year. I never go into an ask without thinking about, where is this gift going 3 years down the road? Can I ask him again in another 2 years? Everything I do right now should be setting up future orientation and what I'm going to be doing next. So, Sandeep, how are we doing for time? Did you?
We have time for a couple more, Derek, if
Okay.
you want to take a look in the chat. We have folks dropping some questions in there.
Yeah, I see. Oh my God, they're all groovy.
Hmm.
How do you recommend getting in contact with the foundation for a grant? They state on their page that they only do grants by invite only. Then that is what I would do. I would not send them. There is nothing that will piss off a funder more than if you do exactly opposite of what they say. Uh, I've often chatted with some of my colleagues that are in the community investment side, and they will sort of say, Derek, some of the mistakes that we've seen. I knew somebody that worked in community investment with FedEx, and they said, you know what, Derek, somebody actually used Purelator to send us an application. Oh, dear God, no, please don't, right? If this grant application says, please use 10-point font, do not use 9, do not use 11, right? Do exactly as they sort of say. Um, is there somewhere to find resources listed all in one place, such as grant opportunities? Oh, there are some mediums through which you can buy a grant subscription. Imagine Canada is one. I just visit Imagine Canada anyway, if you can, but no, they have a grant database. Big Online is another one. They're fairly expensive. They're based out of the States. I prefer Imagine Canada myself because they are Canadian born and bred. So those might be some ones. We're a tiny foundation supporting music scholarships. Oh, how do we find a company to take our cause as their pet project? Who should we go after? If you are a music scholarships, I would go to to be honest, I would go to music stores, guitar stores, right? I would go to these small shops first. This is something that they know they love dearly, and see if they would like to start off with, say, a small scholarship, right? $500, this type of thing. Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be awesome if this, A&B Sound guitar store was able to hand out a $500 scholarship to somebody, deserving. That would look really, really good. So, uh, I think that's probably the end. Oh my gosh, and there's so many. Uh, what we can do is, and Sandeep, I'm going to ask for you to do some work here. If
Mhm.
we can somehow capture these, and I can actually address them, through an email,
Yep,
I'd be happy to sort of do that. Yeah.
absolutely. We'll take note of these questions,
Oh, please.
and we can definitely do that. Thank you so much, folks, for your engagement. And Derek, thank you so much for an informative and engaging session as always. I'm gonna remove the spotlight here now. I think my camera is back on. Before we go today, I wanted to take some time to share a bit about a new offering from Integral Org, the Nonprofit Evolution Lab. The lab is designed for emerging nonprofits in Alberta and covers topics like getting started, your first strategic plan, governance, and funding and financing. The lab offers flexibility of the self-paced learning model while being supported with tools like an organizational development plan and coaching from subject matter experts like our facilitator today. Delivered online, this program gives you the most current and relevant information that you need to make strong decisions about the next steps when it comes to your nonprofit initiative. We've identified various organizational areas to develop, clarified complex processes, and bridged knowledge gaps so that you can make strategic progress. This intentional but flexible path forward will help you avoid setbacks later where missing or incomplete steps can be costly and time consuming. The lab offers accessible resources, like I mentioned, toolkits, checklists, assessments, and videos, and it reflects the most current and relevant information. And so it's an opportunity for you to outline, again, that strategic path forward, receive expert guidance, and ensure that your questions are being answered so the progress you're making is on the right track. I'm going to drop a little bit more information for you about the lab in the chat now. You can check out the web page here. You can explore some of the more in-depth information that's on this web page for you. And if you feel like this is something you're interested in, you can always fill out the inquiry form and connect with us. Of course, if you'd prefer to chat, I'm always here to answer any questions and walk through this process with you as well. So my contact information is there for you as well. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about this with you. All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. We hope that the session was informative and relevant to your nonprofit needs and interests. If you could take a few minutes and let us know your thoughts by completing a quick evaluation survey, that would be greatly appreciated. Dropping that in the chat for you now just takes a couple of minutes and helps us know that we're on the right track and we're addressing the topics and issues that are of interest to you.
Awesome.
Fine.
Hey, thanks again, everybody. This was absolutely just a hoot and a half. I loved hanging out with you and chatting about this. So yeah, thank you so much.
Sorry, Sandeep, did you drop everything in the chat because I cannot see anything from you?
Oh, okay. Give me a sec here.
Oh,
One moment. There you go. There's the link to the survey. Oh, let me know if you've
okay.
seen that now.
Yeah, I see
Yes.
it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, lovely. Thanks for pointing that out. Um, Also, we do recognize that the questions that you may have may require more in-depth conversation about your organization. So for more specific support, we encourage you to access one of our problem-solving services. So this could be a short phone or video consultation or a 1-hour problem-solving session called a clinic. These meetings happen between your team and one of our integral org experts. And clinics and consultations are a part of our mission to educate and support Alberta nonprofits. So this is the work that we're here to do. We're here to help and walk alongside you. I'll drop that in the chat, just some more information about how to set up a clinic or a consultation. And just a little bit about Integral Org. We are a capacity builder and nonprofit ourselves, and our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and support you need to do your best work. We work in many core areas, including governance, strategic planning, risk management, legal compliance, financial management, leadership development, and more. And we work with nonprofits at any stage of their life cycle using a multidisciplinary approach to address your most pressing concerns. So give us a call, give us an
Sorry,
email.
the last link that you shared, it says file not found.
Is this the
Is
link shared earlier in our conversation or just now?
the last one that you shared,
Maneshi.
it's intelorg.ca/who we
It
work with.
does.
That link.
Yes. Good
Who we
call. Good
work with.
catch.
Thank you.
Clicking the links here, they seem to be opening for me. Oh, one
Nope.
sec.
I got,
There it is, the
yeah.
clinic one. 1 second
Well
here.
done. Bravo.
Very nice. Thank you so much for catching that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to search that up now and drop another link that hopefully works a bit better here.
Yes. No, that was great. And yeah,
Here we go.
I've known and worked with Integral for many, many years, and they're just the bee's knees. Absolutely love them. So yeah, certainly reach out to them with any of your nonprofit needs.
Wonderful. I think that link there should work. Testing it out
Yeah,
now. It looks like
it's
it's live.
working. Yeah.
Perfect. Great catch. And thank you, Derek. Alrighty, folks. Well, that was it for our time today. Thanks again for being with us. And Derek, thanks again so much for
Thank you.
your energy and always bringing the most up-to-date, relevant information to all of us with regards to fundraising. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks. Thanks so much. Take care, everyone.